What's up, YouTube? Deaddraw here, bringing you another video today. Today I want to bring you guys a video of the ban list, and we're gonna go a little bit more in-depth review than we did yesterday. I found out some other things, and let's just go on to talk about how good of a ban list Konami made. And I actually think Konami made a really good ban list this time. Besides one or two things, and who knows why. But I think relatively the format's going to get more healthy, even though people will argue that we had a really healthy format. Sure, it was healthy for the time from what we were coming from the previous formats, but unfortunately, it wasn't. The type of decks that were being played, I think, were rough. I think we're about to go into a lot more healthy of a format now. So, yeah, let's kind of like just talk about this. And first deck, I really want to talk about Pen Magicians. Astrogas Sorcerer went to 0. This is a really big hit. They lose a lot of their looping. They lose a lot of their utility. Also rank up magic, Argent Force being gone, they can't make the Utopic Zexal or whatever his name was. That hurts the deck a lot, but not every deck played that. So that I don't know. The rank up magic was kind of interesting, but sure. And then we also got Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom banned. I think this is a really good hit. I think this was honestly a really big hit because of the issues. They hit this because of the FTK version. But I think this hurts just any version, honestly. The ability to copy Electromite and get that effect and keep your Astrograph looping was so big for the deck. I think this is just a really good hit. And Pen Magician was not fun to play against. I am not a big fan, so I am biased about this, but I'm not a fan of the Pendulum mechanic at all. So I think it's just like a really rough spot for the Pen Magicians to go from here. There might be some ways to play around it, but I definitely don't think they're going to be tier 1 or in there. So I honestly think Konami did a good job at hitting this for once. Phoenix and Cluster Armalis, whatever it's called. This is just to get rid of the FTK with it. It was a pretty dumb FTK, so yeah. Masterpiece banned. I think this is a great hit of the way they did it. They were able to keep Diagram at 3 by just hitting Masterpiece. And they didn't completely kill this deck. This deck still is viable to play with. They brought Dynamite Knight back to 1. So that's a big one. And then they brought Ignis Heat back to 3. So that makes a really big difference of them. You know, they actually looked at this and said, hey, we don't want to kill this deck. That might be for purposes more along the lines of, hey, Megatons are coming out, we want to sell them. But, you know, especially the Diagram not being hit. But being able to utilize this in other decks than just True Draco and all that is also a big part of that. So I think they did a really good job at not completely killing the deck, but taking its, you know, best card, its win condition, and, you know, hurting it. I think they did a really good job at that. So we already talked about this. Now, Grass, the last card that, the last main deck card that got banned here. Grass. I think this is a great hit. Personally, they killed 60 card decks with this, and yeah, I know that's a good / bad thing. But personally, like, I think Snow in the metagame is too good of a card for this to happen. Even 1 Snow, like in the OCG, they have 3 Grass and 1 Snow. I think even having the 1 Snow, being able to send it with Curious or send it with Brilliant Fusion as your light target and all that, and putting, you know, essentially 19 cards in your graveyard, and there's going to be more coming there. I think that's just too ridiculous, and I think it's sacky and really just broken. I'm really happy personally that this is gone. I think it's just super good hit. I think Konami did a good job at that. So yeah, I'm really happy with this hit. I think they're kind of looking out for the game. I don't believe like in competitive play, like I don't really think 60 card decks should relatively be as consistent as they were doing. And that's just because it is 60 cards. The reason we play 40 card decks and we cut cards down is to make them the best as they can be. I know that's the kind of whole gimmick of 60 card decks, you know, but I just don't like the idea of them. So that's my opinion on that. We addressed Dynamite Knight. Chain Strike, there's honestly not too much to talk about. This is kind of like no one really saw this coming, but I guess it hurts Chain Burn a bit. Just burn decks in general. Um, yeah. Towers went to 2. Honestly, like, it's not really like, I think the pendulum mechanic for the Klee deck is out of date just because of the Master Rule 4. So I think this isn't really going to do anything. I think this card could have just stayed banned though, because one day, who knows, there could be something really powerful with this, but who really knows? Like, I can't really tell you too much about that. It's not really relevant anyway. Okay, Dragoons to 3. And yes, I did miss Ancient Fairy Dragon. We'll go back to that. But Dragoons to 3 is like pretty good for Mermails. We'll see if they can do anything. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna love having this back at 3, but honestly, realistically, I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's really going to have much of an impact. They might be able to steal a regional top here or there by the right pilot with the right build, but who really knows? Grand Soil, this got the errata. It became not quite as good, and it's getting reprinted, so it kind of makes sense all along the lines of Konami. So that kind of got taken care of there. Mathematician to 3 just makes sense. Mathematician's not really relevant in the game right now. It's, you know, there's not really much to say. I think this card is good and has potential to be good, but I think the game's paced up to the speed that, you know, Mathematician isn't as good as it used to be. Grand Mold to 3. This is cool, but realistically, not really gonna get played. Sure, you can side 3 Grand Mole. It's gonna help you a bit, but why? It's gonna waste your normal summon. You're just gonna have to put it. It's gonna waste your normal summon. Let's just put it that way. It doesn't really extend plays. It doesn't do anything, so it's not really gonna shake up the meta. Ring Distraction. This really doesn't do much either. Sure, the errata just hurt it enough where it's okay. Now, Compulsive 3, I think this is like the most interesting thing here. And yeah, we're gonna go back to the extra deck stuff here. I'm sorry, guys, but Compulsive 3, I think this is really interesting. I think Compulse is like, it used to be a very power card in the game, and now it's only a 1-for-1. And generally with cards, we tend to we want to go positive rather than just going even. That's the kind of state of Yu-Gi-Oh, and that's what it's become. Though now, with the amount of links that are being played, I think this is really good. I think this is really good in the type of deck you're playing as well. You know, if I was going first and I'm playing Trickstar against the old True Draco, just say, I have 3 Compulse in my deck and 3 Torrential. Say I was running a really trap heavy build. Being able to put that in mono auto back to hand's a big deal. Plus, like, in Trickstars, I think this actually could get some play. I thought, because that it was kind of a thought I had. This essentially can be like a Poison of the Old Man plus getting rid of a card and stopping it plays. If you have 1 Licorice on board and you put something back to their hand, any card that was normal summoned and actually goes back to their hand, they will still take the damage. It's just any way, shape, or form a card's added to their hand. So I think this is really, really cool. Tech for Trickstars. Who knows? We'll see if it'll see any play. I think this is a pretty cool thing, though. I think Compulsive 3 is awesome. We haven't had a trap heavy format in such a long time that it's interesting to see these power traps come back. They're trying to, I think what Konami's trying to do by bringing Torrential to 3, Compulsive 3, they're trying to bring these power traps back so we can get back into what we were. Who knows though? I think the power creep of Yu-Gi-Oh in general just like really determined the factor of like what is going to be going on here. I think, like, you know, the speed and all that is a big factor of how many traps you're going to be playing and all that. Now let's go down back to here. I missed Ancient Fairy Dragon. The way I have this set up is kind of confusing, but Ancient Fairy Dragon got banned. I think this is a really good ban for Konami, actually. As much as I hate it, I love Ancient Fairy Dragon. I think it's a great card, but it makes sense. With the Nightmare Engine and Destrudo and all the stuff that was going on, all the shenanigans there, it just made boards too good. It just really made first turn boards too good. So it makes a lot of sense this is banned. We've seen it in OCG. This wasn't something I didn't see coming, and most of us saw this coming. And Gem Knight Master Diamond to 1. This addresses the FTK. They tried to address FTKs this format. So it makes a lot of sense. You know, that's why they did the Starving Venom. That's why they did Gem Knight Master Diamond. That's why they did Phoenix and Cluster Amaryllis or whatever it's freaking called. So now I want to talk about stuff that we missed. Stuff that was missed on this ban list that just, never happened. First off, we're going to talk about Terraforming. Terraforming, we see this at 1 in the OCG, and we still have 3. This is actually surprising. This didn't at very least get semi-limited. So we're actually going to be going into Nationals season with this at 3. With field spells being such like the power cards they are nowadays, this is really interesting to see. Staying at 3. It looks like Konami wants to go a different route. Of doing things. They don't want to hit this field spells, but they want to hit the decks themselves. So I think that's pretty cool. A really nice thing. Scapegoat. I honestly cannot believe this card did not get touched. With Nightmares, it is extremely powerful. Before in Trickstars, yes, I do keep on using Trickstars as an example. I have regionals coming up. I'm a Trickstar player. I'm playing Trickstars again. So I have that on my mind. But in Trickstars, you play this, and with the Nightmares, it's just unbelievable. This went from being a 1-card board load into I'm gonna win this turn. Board load didn't, necessarily mean you won the game. There's many ways to get over board load. Board load's a strong card, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like I'm going to FTK them now. But now Scapegoat has become I use Scapegoat on my turn. Or on the end phase, I am going to make a board of at least a Cerberus, a Phoenix, or like a Cerberus or a Phoenix, and a Unicorn. Being able to add cards, going even at least by discarding these cards, possibly even positive. If you add the right cards to your hand, you're going to be discarding your reincarnations, and relatively just adding a new card and being able to special from graveyard, making more and more links. There is a lot of OTKs that you can do with this stuff, and then it's honestly just like amazing. This is such an amazing engine. This is a surprise that Scapegoat didn't get hit. I definitely see Scapegoat going to 1 after Nationals. I'm actually super surprised about that. And then once again, we'll talk about Diagram a little bit. This wasn't seen on the list. In OCG, Diagram and Masterpiece are gone. They left Diagram in, which I really respect. But they left that in for the utility of other decks. But I also can't help that I saw this coming because they marketed the Megatins that Diagram was going to be in it. So I think they're trying to do it for sales. I think eventually, if we see this impact the meta just enough, this will go to limit. I don't see this getting banned, but I think if it impacts the meta enough, this could get limited. But honestly, it just might not, and it might just stay at 3 for now. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's keeping as many cards off the ban list as possible is great for the game. There's just some cards that have to come off. Now let's talk about Construct. A lot of this got a lot of hype pricing. Guys, this is gonna go back down a bit. Though now that it is legal in the OCG, don't expect it to drop too much because we know this will eventually come back. If you're able to pick up your ultis for a decent price, pick them up, honestly. This will be coming back. I believe this will come back in August after Nationals, which would make a lot of sense. It's going to get a lot of hype. It's going to be hard to find the ultis. Ultras won't be ever like too much. But, pick up a copy if you want to play. Just all you need is 1. It's only going to come back to 1. I don't ever see Construct being at more than 1. I think this card's too good to have more than 1 of. But besides that, I think this is really interesting. I did predict that this wouldn't be coming back, this list. I was right. This will come back in August, though. Droll and Lockbird, honestly, I think Trickstars got really away with this ban list completely. I mean, they did. Scapegoat's still at 3. Droll and Lock still at 3. Reincarnation still at 3. So we're going to kind of just sum these two up together here. This combo is actually just ridiculously broken, and you don't even need double reincarnation combo to be able to get the combo off. Now, just because almost every single deck in the meta adds a card from their deck to the hand. I think one of our tougher matchups are going to be Altergeist because they don't do as much adding from the deck to the hand, or when they do, they have their trap. So their trap is not allowing me to activate that kind of stuff. But I think this combo is actually just ridiculous. Anything that adds from the deck to the hand, on the response window, when they add the card from their deck to the hand, you activate Reincarnation, you train your Joel, and they lose their entire hand, and they pretty much lose the game. So I think like that's just like super brick hit. I think Reincarnation could go to 2 as a card. I don't think this needs to be limited. This going to 1 actually just doesn't get rid of the Droll and Lock combo. I think you have to actually hit Droll and able to do that, because this going to 1, you can search it. And then if you have your Droll, you're just gonna summon your Cantina and search Reincarnation, wait for them to add something, Droll, lock them. It's still gonna be a thing. I think this going to 1 isn't gonna fix it. I think this should go to 2 next list, and this should go to probably 0. I think if Max C's banned, I think Droll and Lock deserves to get banned. But it's a good call that they didn't hit this, because if they did, Sky Strikers would be running even more crazily. Just even more crazy in this meta. Sky Strikers are gonna come and toss up this meta completely. I don't know if it's gonna be tier 0, but it's going to be the definitive best deck, 100%. So, but yeah, I think that's kind of why Droll kind of remained untouched, because they knew the upcoming format is gonna need to be in play. Now, Ash Blossom to 3, I did not see this going to 2, so this staying at 3 makes a lot of sense. Pretty much like that's all I really have to say about that. Like, Ash Blossom is kind of like, Sky Strikers are coming out. This card's gonna have to be a 3. They are gonna have to run more cards than they wanted to, like Called by the Graves and stuff. So it's a really good thing that they left us at 3. Saw this coming. This card has been going up because of this. I don't know why people actually thought this was gonna be limited or semi-limited. It just wasn't gonna happen. And then let's talk a little bit about Dinos. I just have Double Evolution Pill up here, not because of any like real reason, but just because it represents Dinos the best. And I think like the definitive best version of Dinos was 60 card zombie Dino. I think that was the best variant of Dinos you could play. I think they break too much otherwise in any deck, in any 40 card deck. I think they break a little too much. I think them not having to hit that, I think is gonna make a big deal. I think Dinos are strong enough that they're gonna be able to win a regional or top a regional and do that kind of stuff, leaving the format relatively healthy. But they're not gonna win in YCS. They don't top YCSs unless it's in the 60 card build. And that's just honestly the super high tier premier events. They're just not quite doing what needs to be. So that's what I have to say about this ban list. I think they missed a lot of things. Like, I think Scapegoat should have been definitely hit on this list, because we just got the Nightmare stuff. They knew what it did in OCG. There's a reason Scapegoat is what it is at in the OCG. I believe it's limited. If it's semi, I don't even know. But if it's limited, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's limited in OCG. And Terraforming was kind of an interesting thing they kept in the game. But that's what I have to say about this list. I think Konami did a really good job, despite a few things. I think it's crazy that Trickstar's actually snuck through this. But to be honest, Trickstar is never going to be that deck that's going to be the best deck. And that's coming from a Trickstar player. It just never will be. It's a counter deck. It's a counter call. It's a, it's an Evil Swarm deck in Dragon Ruler format. It's good, it can win, but it has its flaws, and it's never going to be the best, and that's just is what it is. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys think I'm wrong about anything like Grand Mole or Mathematician or Compulse. Let me know, guys, in the comment section below. Please comment, like, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. We'll talk to you later.